I moved into the Willow Creek subdivision thinking I'd finally found peace. Quiet streets, neatly trimmed lawns, a gated entrance that looked like it came with a security detail, and a warning sign that screamed, "You better not mess around here." But nothing in the brochure mentioned the spawn of Satan running the HOA, Karen Devereaux, a bleach blonde tyrant with sunglasses permanently welded to her face and a voice that could shatter granite. Her hobby? Making people's lives a living hell. Within the first week, she fined me $200 for having my trash can 2 inches out of alignment. The second week, a threat to paint my mailbox because it was off black instead of HOA regulated charcoal dusk. I swear she spent her nights sniffing residents' doorways looking for violations. But I kept quiet. I didn't want to rattle the HOA hornet's nest too soon. Besides, I had bigger fish to fry, or so I thought. My son Jesse had just returned from vacation overseas. That's what I told people. In reality, the kid was neck deep in operations that required flak vests and burner phones. A full-blown DEA agent, but undercover so deep he probably dreamed in Morse code. He told me to keep my mouth shut about him and just play along with the neighborly nonsense. Easy for him to say. He didn't have Karen hovering outside like a gossip drone every time I watered the grass. Now here's where it got weird. I started noticing strange deliveries around the neighborhood. Not just Amazon boxes. I'm talking unmarked vans dropping off large duct tape crates at 2:17 a.m. sharp every Thursday. The deliveries always stopped at Karen's house. I once asked her about it, pretending to care. She smiled and said it was essential oils from overseas. Yeah, essential oils that needed 3 armed guys in black hoodies to carry. Then came the smell. Not the kind that makes you question your neighbor's cooking choices, but sharp, chemical, and strong enough to make the squirrels high. One night, I caught Karen and 2 other HOA board members wheeling a crate into the abandoned pool house near the tennis court. They stopped when they saw me. She gave me a smile so fake it should have come with a warning label, then said, "Oh, hi there, just some community storage work. Nothing to worry about." Sure, Karen. Just storing something that smells like a Breaking Bad episode. I started snapping photos from my upstairs window, zoomed in shots of labels, license plates, timestamps. My phone became a vault of neighborhood sin. Jesse saw the pictures one night while we were eating, and his fork stopped midair. He leaned in and whispered, "You got no idea what you're sitting on." Then he looked me dead in the eye and added, "Don't say a word to anyone. Not yet." Next thing I know, Karen hits me with a notice that my fence was too emotionally aggressive in tone. Yes, emotionally aggressive. This woman was nuts. I went to the HOA meeting that month just to see what the circus looked like from the inside. It was worse than I imagined. 3 old men nodding like bobbleheads while Karen spewed rules like she wrote the Constitution. But her eyes twitched every time someone mentioned deliveries or renovations. And every time she'd shut them down like a prison warden running out of patience. I played dumb. I asked innocent questions. "Oh, Karen, how do you manage all these renovations without permits?" She smiled, tight-lipped. "Connections, darling." She had no idea I had connections, too. Ones with badges, guns, and surveillance vans. The morning after the HOA meeting, Karen had the nerve to leave a violation slip on my door because my bird feeder was too colorful and might attract the wrong kind of birds. I didn't even know HOA regulations extended to feathered friends, but apparently in her world, everything was subject to her highlighter-wielding wrath. She was on a power trip so deep she needed a passport to get back to reality. But instead of taking the bait, I smiled. I waved at her like we were old church buddies, because Jesse had finally flipped the switch. He installed 2 pin-sized cameras on our roof and aimed them at the pool house, Karen's pet project. Day and night, they recorded comings and goings. Guys in identical cargo pants unloading duffel bags. One dude even had a scorpion tattoo on his neck and looked like he only drank gasoline for breakfast. This wasn't some HOA bake sale. They were moving serious weight. I mentioned it casually to Karen in passing just to watch her twitch. "Hey, saw some guys by the pool house last night. Are we renovating again?" Her lips pressed into a line so tight I thought her Botox would burst. "No need to concern yourself with community maintenance," she said. "Maybe focus on trimming your hedges. They're starting to look rebellious." Rebellious hedges. That woman had a gift for lunacy. That night, Jesse pulled me aside. "They're moving product fast," he said. "But here's the catch. They're laundering it through HOA fines." I blinked. "Come again?" He nodded. "Those ridiculous fines? Trash bins, lawn heights, bird feeders. They're bogus. She's cycling clean money through fake violations. Residents pay, the cash gets bundled, and it disappears." I couldn't believe it. My petty bird feeder was funding a drug ring. Jesse went into full operative mode after that. While I played the clueless resident, he slipped around the neighborhood like a phantom. He climbed onto roofs, tapped into outdoor security systems, and used his DEA-issued drone disguised as a weather balloon to surveil the clubhouse. Karen never noticed. She was too busy harassing Mr. Thompson for not edging his driveway symmetrically. One night, Jesse followed one of the delivery vans after it left the neighborhood. It drove to a strip mall on the outskirts of town, parked behind a laundromat, and three guys started hauling bags straight into a back room labeled staff only. He filmed everything. But Karen's paranoia was ramping up too. She installed her own cameras, started walking the neighborhood at random hours, peeking into garages and checking trash cans like she was looking for nuclear secrets. She even questioned my son. "Your boy seems nosy," she said one afternoon, adjusting her oversized shades with a plastic grin. "Is he planning to stay long?" "Depends," I replied. "He's really into community service." Her smile faltered for a second, just a flicker, but that told me everything. A week later, a community barbecue was announced. Free food, music, bounce house for the kids. Karen's idea of a goodwill PR move. Jesse whispered, "She's making a drop there. I guarantee it." So I went. I wore my world's best dad apron and flipped burgers while watching her like a hawk. Sure enough, around 4 p.m., a man in a gray suit strolled into the barbecue like he was lost. Karen shook his hand with both of hers, led him to the clubhouse, and 5 minutes later, he walked out with a briefcase. Briefcase. At a barbecue. Yeah, totally normal. Jesse trailed him while I made sure Karen didn't sniff out anything. But I slipped. She saw me glance toward the clubhouse too many times. Her smile tightened like a noose. "Is there a problem, neighbor?" "Just admiring your community management style," I said. "You really know how to throw a party for someone who hates people." Her eyebrow twitched, but she kept that Barbie smile. She knew something was off. And now I knew she was watching me. 3 days after the barbecue, a raccoon got into my trash and left a trail of destruction that would have made a CSI team gag. Before I even finished cleaning it up, Karen was on my porch with a clipboard and an attitude that could curdle milk. "Violation," she snapped, slapping a fine on my door. "Neighborhood Ordinance 7B13, no wildlife attracting debris allowed." I stared at her. "You think I invited the raccoon?" "Intent is irrelevant," she said with a smirk. "Clean up your act, or next time it'll be a board hearing." She turned and strutted down my walkway like she was walking a fashion show for fascists. But I didn't even rip up the fine this time. I just stood there and smiled, because Jesse had just pulled the juiciest data yet. Turns out Karen wasn't just the HOA queen. She was the nerve center. Her emails, her burner phone logs, even encrypted chats pulled from a signal jammer we caught near her garage. They all led to the same conclusion. She wasn't helping smugglers. She was the smuggler, and the HOA was her personal drug mule. Jesse showed me one message that made my jaw drop. It was an order list disguised as lawn care maintenance codes. 4D, 5 units, 6A, 10 bricks. Q1, cash delivery. She was trafficking heroin and fentanyl like she was running a gardening service. But things escalated fast. Mr. Denton, a 73-year-old who just wanted to sip sweet tea on his porch and watch squirrels, suddenly disappeared. No warning, no moving truck, no goodbye. Denton was the only guy who dared argue with Karen in a board meeting, said her leadership was more dictatorship than democracy. Then poof, gone. House on the market overnight. Jesse checked local records, no moving permits, no sale history, no forwarding address. Just vacated due to noncompliance. Noncompliance my left butt cheek. Karen was cleaning house, literally. So we started digging deeper, but that came with risk. A day later, I found my mailbox smashed in, my tires slashed, and a mysterious bag of dead fish guts tossed on my porch. Karen called it an unfortunate coincidence. I called it mob-level intimidation with a side of cheap perfume and bad hair dye. I knew we were getting close when Jesse found security footage from the HOA clubhouse's basement. A trap door, hidden under an old ping pong table, led to a room stacked with crates labeled as historical records. Only history in there was enough narcotics to knock out a city block. Karen had built a drug vault under the noses of retirees and bake sale organizers. But she was slipping. Paranoia had her pacing at HOA meetings like a zoo tiger. She started banning residents from walking near the pool house. She said it was being fumigated. For what? Cocaine spiders? Then she made her boldest move yet. She invited me to a friendly sit-down in her backyard. I went, curious and possibly suicidal. She poured me a drink, sweet tea that tasted like lies, and leaned in. You've been quite involved lately, asking questions, watching things, getting chatty. I kept my face blank. I'm just concerned about the neighborhood. Lots of unusual activity. She smirked. Maybe it's time you learned how things work here. Some of us do what we must to maintain order. And order, she pointed her perfectly manicured nail at me, requires silence. It was the most polite threat I'd ever received. She leaned back in her chair, crossed her legs, and added, if your son plans to stay here, he better learn the rules. I don't tolerate meddling. That was it. Karen had eyes on Jesse. Jesse didn't flinch. That night, he came to me with a folder thicker than her spray tan. We've got her, he said. We just need to trigger the operation. But once it starts, all hell breaks loose. Karen had no idea she'd already crossed the point of no return. The day of the annual HOA gala arrived like it was prom night for sociopaths. Karen had the clubhouse decked out with gold-trimmed banners, valet parking, a live jazz band, and hors d'oeuvres so overpriced they probably came with a payment plan. She stood at the entrance like a Bond villain at a fundraiser, diamond brooch, power suit, and a smugness thick enough to butter toast. You'd think she was hosting the G20 summit instead of a homeowner meat market. Jesse, now clean-shaven in a sharp gray suit, blended right in with the crowd. No one recognized him. Karen thought he left the neighborhood for good, probably relocated to some cornfield in Nebraska. But he was right there, sipping club soda, tracking every move she made, while DEA agents in tuxedos pretended to be bored real estate developers. It was the kind of operation that gives movie scripts a complex. Karen, oblivious, made her rounds like a queen with a clipboard. I trailed behind, mingling with guests and fake laughing at HOA jokes. One guy said our HOA fined a guy for painting his fence beige instead of tan, and I wanted to throw him into the decorative koi pond. At precisely 7:45 p.m., Jesse gave the signal. He tapped his wine glass 3 times and nodded toward the main hall. Karen was leading her inner circle there. 6 shady types who didn't even pretend to be homeowners. 2 carried briefcases. One had a Bluetooth in his ear the size of a sandwich, and another looked like he bench-pressed stolen cars. They entered the side room, and Jesse followed. I made my move 30 seconds later. Inside, the room looked like a money-laundering war room. Boxes stacked with fake HOA paperwork, USB drives, floor plans of neighborhoods all across the county, and in the center, a reinforced steel case marked with enough warning labels to make a hazmat team blush. Karen stood with her back to us, directing traffic like a drug-smuggling traffic cop. Unload the product, swap the IDs, and have the driver loop to the back lot. We don't want another hiccup like last time. Jenkins had a heart attack sniffing too close to the drop. The man with the Bluetooth chuckled. That old man's gone. We buried that problem. That's when Jesse stepped forward. Yeah? Funny you should mention that. Karen froze. Then slowly, very slowly, she turned around and saw him. Oh, she said, blinking hard. You, me, Jesse smiled. Special Agent Jesse Colton, D.E.A. The room exploded. Karen lunged for her purse, probably going for a panic button or a pistol. I never got the chance to find out because at that exact moment, the windows shattered as a full tactical team burst in, shouting orders like thunder. Smoke grenades rolled across the floor. One of the goons tried to run and got tackled so hard he's probably still looking for his teeth in the carpet. Get on the ground! Agents roared as the jazz band outside kept playing like it was background music for Armageddon. Karen? She screamed. Not like a scared person, like a banshee being exorcised. I run this place. I own you, she shrieked, trying to claw at Jesse as 2 agents wrestled her down and zip-tied her wrists. You don't even own your house, Jesse said flatly. You've been leasing under a fake LLC registered to a pizza parlor. The look on her face could have soured milk. You little rat, you'll pay for this. Nope, Jesse grinned. You already paid. Every fake fine, every phony violation, every ounce of poison you pushed through this community, it's all coming back to bite. She thrashed as they dragged her out of the room, mascara running like war paint, hair askew, screaming about how the HOA would sue the government. Yeah, good luck with that. Later, as the last of the vans pulled away and the clubhouse was cleared out like a busted casino, I walked through the rubble, past the overturned chairs and fallen hors d'oeuvres, and stood by Jesse. Think they'll believe me now about the bird feeder? He laughed. Might even get an apology letter. I got more than that. The city launched an audit, arrested the bribed police captain, and shut down 4 other Karen-run HOAs. My mailbox got replaced. My name got cleared. And Jesse? He got promoted and awarded a shiny plaque for outstanding service in domestic narcotics interdiction. Karen? She got 25 years and a bunkmate named Big Rhonda who doesn't like snitches. And me? I finally got to hang my bird feeder in peace. The squirrels love it.